Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 7. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prithuhu Uvacha Aho Acharitam Kim Me Mangalam Mangala Ayanaha Yasya Vaha Darshanam Hi Asit Durdarshanam Cha Yogibihi Prithuruvacha Aho Acharitam King Me Mangalang Mangalayanaha Yasya Vodarshanang Hyasid Durdarshanang Chayogibihi Prithuruvacha Aho Acharitam King Me Mangalang Mangalayanaha Yasya Vodarshanang Hyasid Durdarshanang Chayogibihi. Prithuruvacha
Aho Acharitam Kimme
Aho Acharitam Kingle Mangalam Mangalayanaha
Yasya Vodarshanam Hyasi.
King Prithu spoke, "My dear great sages, auspiciousness personified, it is very difficult for even the mystic yogis to see you. Indeed, you are very rarely seen. I do not know what kind of pious activity I performed for you to grace me by appearing before me without difficulty." Purport: when something uncommon happens in one's progressive spiritual life, it should be understood to be incurred by agyata sukriti, or pious activities beyond one's knowledge. To see personally the Supreme Personality of Godhead or His pure devotee is not an ordinary incident. When such things happen, they should be understood to be caused by previous pious activity, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yeshang tvantagatam papang jananang punya karmanam. One who is completely freed from all the resultant actions of sinful activities and who is absorbed only in pious activities can engage in devotional service. Although Maharaj Prithu's life was full of pious activities, he was wondering how his audience with the Kumaras happened. He could not imagine what kind of pious activities he had performed. This is a sign of humility on the part of King Prithu, whose life was so full of pious activities that even Lord Vishnu came to see him and predicted that the Kumaras would also come. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyatah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Rahmatam Hitam Tam Sajiva Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Scha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Probably all of us who have come to Krishna consciousness can attest to this uncommon happening in our progressive spiritual life. If we see these stories of how people take to Krishna consciousness, often printed in Back to Godhead, it seems like always there's some uncommon, apparent coincidences. It just happens that it just seems that we just happen to meet someone by chance. So many things. Someone's walking down the street and on a rainy day, and some piece of paper attaches to the back of his heel, and he bends down to take it off, and he happens even to look at what's written, and it says something very unusual which he's never... What is this? The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. That sounds interesting. I don't know what it means. And it says, and just a little piece of torn up paper, and it says, back to Godhead. So very unusual. Anyway, it looks interesting, and cleans it up and puts it in his purse and looks at it from time to time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of all causes. Back to Godhead, some magazine. Then another day, he's walking down the street and someone accosts him on the street. So he pushes him aside. No. And then, what was that? What was that you have there? You have some, what's that magazine? Back to Godhead? Yes, give me one. So, there are so many. Of course, this is quite unusual, but I think we can all attest to how in our lives we can see how Krishna has acted in a way to bring us to Him. We can all see how in our lives Krishna is acting to bring us to Krishna consciousness. Krishna arranged to send Prabhupada to this world to make our pious activities. That simply by seeing Srila Prabhupada. Of course, it said here that Prithu Maharaj, in the case of Prithu Maharaj, because he's extraordinarily pious, he had the opportunity to see the four Kumaras. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is such that it reaches out even to those who are not pious, because in Kali Yuga, if we have to look for the pious people, we're going to have difficult time. And often we find that those few people who are pious, we may find pious means in terms of Sanskrit terminology, punya karma, as stated in this verse, jananang punya karmanam, those who are performing pious activity. We often use this word pious to mean someone who's in the West who believes in God and they're favorable towards devotees. But punya karma has a specific meaning. Those who are engaged in generally it means those who are engaged in the karma kanda activities of the Vedas, as prescribed in the Vedas. But here, punya karma must refer to activities, pious activities that are in relationship to devotional service, because janma koti sukridhir na labhyate. This Krishna bhakti cannot be attained even by millions of lifetimes of ordinary pious activities, such as digging wells. Of course, in America, digging wells might not seem to be a very pious activity when we have the municipal water supply. But according to the traditional Indian culture, there is no municipal water supply. And in India, even today, even if there theoretically is, there often isn't. There's just a tap, that's all. And so digging wells is a pious activity. Planting trees alongside the road so that people can have shade while they're walking along. So many of these pious activities. So these activities in and of themselves cannot give bhakti, because they're performed ultimately for the sake of sense gratification. People are they're thinking, I'll dig a well and people can get water, or I'll plant the trees on the side of the road so people can get shade, and I will live in heaven due to this. And as long as people are drawing well from the water, and as long as they're taking shade from the trees, which may be for quite a long time, I can go on taking the punya, I can keep on getting the karma. So the very attitude inherent in this is antithetical to devotional service, which is Shuddha Bhakti. Pure devotional service means jnana kamadhyana vritam, not covered by desires for advancement either on the gross platform or the intellectual platform. Simply the desire to satisfy Krishna. But even these pious activities, as given in the Vedic literature, karma kanda, they can lead to bhakti unmukhi sukriti, or pious activities which are favorable for development of bhakti. Just like the man may be, who has planted these trees, he may be enjoying himself in the heavenly planets with no idea or particular interest in Krishna consciousness. Of course, those who live in the heavenly planets, they're supposed to be devas. That means they're supposed to be at least not inimical towards Krishna, and somewhat inclined. That means that when there's some trouble, they'll call, time to remember Vishnu, time to call Vishnu. And when they're not in trouble, then to go on with enjoying life. But even the man who's planted the trees, it may be that a Vaishnav also walks along the path and also takes shade from the tree. So even without his knowing, agyata, unknown, he gets the result of a pious activity which is favorable for cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Because the pure devotee, he doesn't, contact with him doesn't give, at least not as its primary result, the opportunity to enjoy this material world. Contact with the pure devotee, that bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya, the bhakti gives rise to bhakti. So it may be that people, they'll get some pious result, or there's some opportunity to enjoy this material world by coming in association with devotees, but it's more likely that their prospects for material enjoyment will be spoiled by coming to see such a devotee, because he himself is not interested in enjoying this material world, nor in giving such benedictions to others, which are a cause of not of auspiciousness. The word is used twice, mangala, that which is auspicious. So that which is auspicious, generally that's considered, just like we see outside the offices or shops in India, they'll write Shubh Labh. Shubh means that which is auspicious, and more specifically stated, Labh, money. Let's get some money, gain. So that is, this material auspiciousness means that which gives rise to one's attaining Janma Aishwarya Shuta Shri, future good birth, wealth, learning and intelligence, and bodily good looks. But devotees know that these, they're edhamana madah puman, they're often the cause of pride. Naiva hatyavidatam, right? Tvam akinchana gochara. So these are obstacles on the path of attaining Krishna. So one who has got no desire to enjoy this material world, to him Krishna is available. So those persons who desire material shubh or material mangala, that which is auspicious, they have to be very careful about approaching devotees, because the devotees, they give a different kind of result. That's why this Rupa Goswami has said that, my dear friend, if you are interested in living very happily with your friends and your relatives, a nice comfortable home and nice life, don't go to see Krishna. Don't go to Keshigat. Be careful. Krishna's standing there, playing on his flute, in his beautiful threefold bended form. Don't go there. Very dangerous. That's going on today. The people say, don't go to see those Hare Krishna devotees. Very dangerous. Don't speak with them. Don't take their books. They're very dangerous. They're very dangerous for material life, but very auspicious actually for the real purpose of human life, very auspicious for the jiva, that if he can forget his attachment to Sutamita Ramani Samaj, the society, friendship and love, if he can forget that false idea of enjoying in this material world, then his real auspiciousness can begin. So we see that Prabhupada, he traveled all over the world, and wherever he went, he more or less did the same thing. He spoke about Krishna, he chanted Hare Krishna, he distributed prasadam, and he asked others to do so also. But some people took it up and some didn't. Some people, they get Prabhupada's book and they become immediately, yes, this is what I need, yes. And others, they'll hardly look at it, just put it away. Or maybe they'll put it away and after many years pick it up again. So why is that? That Prabhupada spoke the same message, and all the jivas are by nature inherently the same. So why is it that some take it and some don't? That means if one's consciousness is somewhat prepared by some previous contact with devotional service, then he's likely to, when he comes in contact with devotee, when he comes in contact with the message of Krishna, then that appeals to him because his heart is already somewhat purified, ready to receive that message. Whereas others who are from time immemorial actually inimical towards Krishna consciousness or apathetic towards it, and no touch of, no relationship with devotional service whatsoever, then even the same message which is for their highest good, they'll not take any interest in it, or maybe even be against it. So this preaching of Krishna consciousness means to speak the absolute truth. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are all His servants. Our actual auspiciousness is to bhaja Krishna, bolo Krishna, karo Krishna, shikha. Worship Krishna, chant His name, and learn about Krishna. But not everyone will take interest in that. So devotees, they travel in this world. Mahad vichalanam nrinam. What is that? Griheshu dina chetasam. This Nanda Maharaj said, Garga Muni came to his home. Nanda Maharaj very humbly, just like here. Prithu Maharaj, who's actually of the same category as the four Kumaras. They're all great devotees. So Nanda Maharaj, who is actually we can pure devotees, we shouldn't try to grade according to our material subjective understanding. But Nanda Maharaj is in a greater position even than Garga Muni. He's such an opportunity to be the father of Krishna. What is that? Aham iha Nanda Vande Yasyalinde Param Brahma. This one devotee, Raghupati Upaja said, I worship Nanda Maharaj because in his courtyard the supreme truth is playing. So Nanda Maharaj, he's topmost, even among the associates of the Lord, he's topmost. But he says to Garga Muni that great personalities like yourself, they travel in this world to purify persons like myself, attached householders, grihinam dina chetasam, who are very low consciousness, simply interested, griha, kshetra, sutapta, vitai, thinking in terms of home, property, children, family, relatives, money. So those who are great devotees, they travel in this world to give others to give other persons who are of limited or very crippled intelligence the opportunity to have some contact with Krishna consciousness. So that their sukriti, their not exactly devotional service, but there's some prior favorable move towards devotional service, something that will prepare them to take to devotional service. So in this traditional Vedic culture, that's very important, that any sadhu or sannyasi comes, or not necessarily sannyasi, maybe grihastha, sadhu doesn't necessarily mean sannyasi, but particularly people, just like we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas because he thought people will wreck it. I have to put on, anyway Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he doesn't change by taking sannyas. He is Chaitanya recognize his saintliness, he took sannyas. Because that culture is there to bow down, offer respect, serve, all these things, to give. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought this will give others the opportunity to begin to hear me. So this culture is there. Saintly persons, they should be welcomed in all ways, sweet words spoken to them. And in this way, ordinary people, they get the opportunity to make even just minute progress, but that minute progress they make towards Krishna consciousness, we can't say it's actually Krishna consciousness, but that minute progress towards Krishna consciousness, that is very significant. Because even the slightest beginning of devotional service, that can wash away the effects of millions and millions of lifetimes of contamination. That's, Prabhupada said that anyone who takes one of my books, anyone who reads one line, even one word, even if he touches the book, he gets so much benefit. Why is that? Just read one line? How much benefit can we get from? We may think, what is that? Just reading one line or even reading one word. How can take one word, within? I'm looking at one word, within. And what is the value of the word within? It's just a word. But because it's given here in relation to Krishna, therefore it becomes valuable. That is the definition of Krishna consciousness. As what is Maya? Maya means Ritirtam yad pratiyeta, na pratiyeta chatnami. Tad vidyad atmano mayam yatha bhaso yatha tamaha. Maya means that which is conceived of outside of relationship with Krishna. Everything is in relationship with Krishna. There is no Maya for one who has the vision. There's no illusion. Illusion means to see everything outside of relationship with Krishna. So these words, because they're presented in relationship to Krishna, these ordinary words, whether in English or Sanskrit or whatever, because they're presented in relationship with Krishna, therefore they are purifying. Of course, it's much more purifying to read a whole sentence or a whole page or a whole book or many books. But even some touch, any touch with devotional service, that is of that experience or that activity, that is of a completely different dimension to any material activity. Persons who are not in Krishna consciousness, they cannot see or perceive this. If someone, they're taking a book of Prabhupada's and they meet a devotee on the street and they take a book, for them it's slightly unusual maybe, but it's just one activity in one day out of so many days. I've got these books, what's that? Put them aside. But what's happening, they cannot imagine. If they could imagine, they probably wouldn't take the book. But that's why we don't always tell them everything. But by taking this book, they're getting the opportunity, just like Prithu Maharaj getting the opportunity of meeting the 4 Kumaras. So getting these books, that's just the same opportunity. Why the 4 Kumaras have come and then Prithu Maharaj washed their feet according to custom. So he did that, that's very nice. But the most important thing he had to do in relation to the 4 Kumaras was what? Feed them, wash their feet. What else? He should hear from them, yes. This is, here he's talking about Durdarshan, difficult to see. Durdarshan is also the name, the coined Hindi name for TV. Durdarshan means difficult to see, Dur means difficult, and Dur also means from a distance, so seeing from a distance. So, this darshan, how should we see? How should we see the sadhu? By hearing. Again, the example, Prabhupada traveled all over the world and so many people saw him. How many times did he come to Philadelphia?
3.
3 times came to Philadelphia.
Once when there was a temple, 2 times.
2 times when there wasn't a temple. So many people in this city must have seen him, and they're very fortunate. Probably a lot of them who saw him are now, they've gone for a darshan of a different view of the universe. They've passed on to another body, because it was quite a long time ago now. So many people saw him, but who are the really fortunate ones? Prithu Maharaj is considering his fortune in seeing the Kumaras. Who are the really fortunate persons? We can say the devotees. Why were they fortunate? Because they saw Prabhupada more, yes, but more because they heard him and accepted his instructions. Even many people may have heard, but they didn't take it seriously, they didn't accept his instructions. So many people saw Prabhupada when he came to Philadelphia. Among them, who's here now? Apart from yourself only. And your wife? So there are only two. And some of you maybe were born even after that. Do we have some young men here? Not so young. Anyone was born after Prabhupada left? After 77? So you didn't get the opportunity. Well, maybe, we never know. But maybe you were there too. But those persons who saw Prabhupada at that time, and you yourself now, who are living in this temple, is it? You're not living in this temple, but you're taking to Krishna consciousness seriously. It looks like it. Usually when we see people with shaved head and shikha and tilak, it means that...
He's living in New York.
He's from New York, okay. So who's more fortunate? Prabhupada went to New York so many times. Who's more fortunate? Those who saw Prabhupada in New York or Philadelphia or yourself? What do you think? You'd have liked to have seen Prabhupada, but who's more fortunate actually? Must be yourself, isn't it? Why? Because you're hearing from Prabhupada, isn't it? Your hearing means, directly or indirectly, we're hearing the instructions, reading his books, following the instructions as received in parampara. So those who hear and implement those instructions in their lives, then they can actually take full benefit. Whereas those who simply see, it's good for them, it's good to see a devotee, but simply seeing through the eyes is not as valuable as hearing through the ears, and hearing through the ears not just out of curiosity, but Guru Mukha Padma Vaka Chitete Karya Aika Arna Karya Amanayasha. Which means Guru Mukha Padma Vaka, the words from the lotus mouth of the Guru. Chitete Karya Aika. I make that one with my heart and no other desire. That is real hearing. Hearing means acceptance. There's Shravana Dasha, hearing, and then that is followed by, or the stage of hearing, and Varana Dasha, or accepting, actually accepting. So Prithu Maharaj was fortunate. He recognized his fortune in seeing the Kumaras, and he knew that his fortune would increase by hearing from them and implementing their instructions in his life. So we can also consider thought for the day. We have this verse today. So thought for the day. How fortunate we are. We should consider from time to time, actually all the time, how fortunate we are to have this opportunity to engage in Krishna consciousness. Durlabha Madhava Janma. It's very rare to get this human form of life. And to get association of devotees, even more rare. And then to take that up, it's a very great opportunity. So Prithu Maharaj is very intelligent in as much as he recognized that opportunity. We can understand that we've got this opportunity through great good fortune, greater good janma koti sukritai na labhyate, greater good fortune than we could get through performing millions of mundane pious activities. But there's this to have the opportunity to take to Krishna consciousness means we must have somehow got the blessings of devotees previously, somehow or other. So now that our attitude has become inclined that yes, we'd also like to take this up. So we should consider this seriously, because the tendency is, Maya is the tendency is to think that to go away. We see people take to Krishna consciousness out of great good fortune, and then again sometimes go away, sometimes many times go away, don't maintain their interest. They take it as another thing to try out. I tried Kung Fu and I tried parachuting and I tried climbing up the Mount Alps, and I tried Krishna consciousness, and I'll try something else. But we should understand that Krishna consciousness is not simply a hobby or something to be tried out, but it is our need. It is our actual need. We may try in so many ways, so many different things, parachuting and mountain climbing, and none of these things are any use to us whatsoever. It's parachuting or mountain climbing. Somehow these examples came to my mind that there seems to be some fun there because there's some danger. The feeling of being in a dangerous position and avoiding it, or not being harmed, or the thrill of speed, driving fast. This is simply a highly souped up titillation of the senses. It cannot satisfy the soul. The activities of the soul, the real activities of the soul are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. The example of Prithu Maharaj is being given, that we can follow in his footsteps, how we should behave, how we should recognize what is our opportunity to associate with devotees, how we should hear from them, how we should recognize that good fortune and take it very seriously. Hare Krishna. I'll finish there. Is that alright? It's about time. Usually finish at 8:30?
Yeah, we start a little late.
So, any questions here?
Maharaj, you mentioned that Sadhus Kumar came to Prithu Maharaj, and also Narayana came to Nanda Maharaj.
Gargamuni, yeah.
Same like how the Sadhus Kumar visited the given instruction to Prithu Maharaj. Same. So we did not see the Prabhupada, but we are seeing our spiritual master.
Mm-hmm.
So if we hear from our spiritual master, is it the same or?
Yeah, it's the same. As long as the message is transmitted the same, then it's the same. Just like Prabhupada writes in the early pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, that one can see Narad Muni in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. What does that mean? That you start to have, I don't know, the early hippies when they're reading that, they thought they might have thought they have some visions of Narad Muni. But seeing means by hearing. Shutikshana pata. Seeing by hearing. So you can also see Prabhupada by hearing through the parampara system. Same benefit. That's the principle of parampara. We get the same benefit by hearing. Of course, it's different devotees also have different capacities. So Srila Prabhupada is incomparable world acharya, special emissary of Krishna. Although we can't really say ordinary guru. He's just an ordinary guru. Because he's a guru, just by the very position, is extraordinary. One who takes up the post itself is an extraordinary post. Just like in England for many years, they had this Prime Minister, John Major, and he was considered a very ordinary person, but he was the Prime Minister. So you may think, well, he's just an ordinary person. He could be just like my next door neighbor. Could be, but Now he's the Prime Minister, he has that power and function. So it may be that we may think Guru, ordinary person, but you have to say, but just like to be the Prime Minister, he is not an ordinary person. Just by taking that role, if he discharges that properly, then he has all the power of the state behind him. So one who discharges the duty of instructing others, giving shelter to others, by accepting that responsibility, becomes empowered by Krishna. It's a big topic, and often controversial also. In fact, not often controversial, pretty much always controversial. But anyways, we have to, like everything else, we have to understand through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And we can factually see that those who take to Krishna consciousness seriously, it may be that they get the blessings of the parampara. So many wonderful devotees have come after Prabhupada's passing away. So that means the mercy is still there, isn't it? That's the factual demonstration. That's stated in Bhagavatam, that those who are great devotees, they come to this world and they go to the spiritual world. They're just like crossing in a boat over the ocean, but they also they cross in the boat and they also leave the boat behind for us to take over. Another example given in Bhagavatam in this regard is if you take to some cheetah, then it's like trying to cross the ocean by getting in a stone boat. So you also move in the ocean, but not across it. But instead of going this way, you go down. Bloop, 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 bloop. So we should understand all these things very carefully. Parampara jano bhalo mate. You know that, right? From this song, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said we should know the parampara very well, what that means. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Comments, questions, protests? No? Okay. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.